been to the sawmill? We figured with all the investigation we'd been doing around our hometown, it was time to go out there. So me, him, and his brother Jesse decided to take a trip out to the sawmill. We got on the road, and from our current hometown, it was a pretty good little drive. And I explained how to get out there before. And when we got there, he really didn't expect it to be that far out, I don't think. But we got out there, started walking through the woods, and I explained what it was like when you're walking through the woods and you just come up on it. And when we got there, he and Jesse realized that this place was crazy looking at nighttime. So we're walking around out there, and it was another one of the low energy nights. It didn't feel too crazy out there, but we're walking around looking at things, and I was showing them the layout and how everything was, and telling stories about where things had happened before and the different events that had happened. And we had come out of the main building and took a left and was headed toward the Tomb Raider building. And I don't remember if Jimmy or Jesse had saw something, but we turned around. I know we heard something, and we turned around and started looking, and we didn't see anything, but we had actually brought flashlights this night, and we were looking around, and we saw this crazy footprint that went through the main building, and it just disappeared between the main building and the Bat building. Well, we had tracked it back, and it started in the main building and went out, and we decided, well, it disappeared right at this window. Maybe it jumped up through the window, and this footprint was nothing like we had ever seen. And we're good old country boys that grew up hunting, and it was way too huge to be a hog, and there wasn't a cow gonna run through that building and jump through a window, and we would have known if a cow was there. But it was a split hoof that had strange dots in strange places. And we had no idea. None of us had ever seen a footprint like this. So we looked at where it was at, in comparison to the Bat building window. We went into the Bat building, and we were looking around, and most of the floor in the Bat building is cement, but there's one little area that has dirt on the floor. And in that area, there were two more footprints. Like it had jumped through the window, landed in that dirt, and jumped out the other window. And outside the other window, there was no other footprints. Like it jumped through the window and disappeared. So we started wondering if maybe somebody, like maybe it was a weird shoe footprint. We came up with nothing. Nobody would just come out there and draw strange footprints. There's no shoes that look like that. There's no animal that we knew of that would make that footprint. And it showed up It came from nowhere, ran through a building, jumped through a window, landed, jumped through another window, and disappeared. So we were baffled, and we just kind of looked around. Let's stick around and see what happens. And we're looking around the layout of the place, and we came back out. We came back out the Bat building, and we're between that building and the main building, headed toward the 50 headstones. And there were 2 red lights that moved through the woods between the Tomb Raider building and the 50 headstones. And what it looked like was car tail lights. But there's no way a car can get through those woods. There's no trail wide enough. And obviously we would hear an engine and the car wouldn't just disappear. It looked like car lights that went 30 foot and disappeared. We had no idea what was going on. We hadn't seen anything like this. Why in the world are these 2 red lights going through the woods? And we went out to the 50 headstones. We looked in the area where the lights came from. There are no car tracks, no ATV tracks, nothing that indicated that there was a vehicle there. And we walked back around. We came back. We were headed back through the middle of the layout, the 3 buildings. And we were going to go inside the Tomb Raider building. And there's in the Tomb Raider building, there's a small hole in the wall between the main building and the Tomb Raider building. And we were ducking to go through this hole. And there was a voice that came from right. It would have been a member of our group. That's how close it was. Right beside us as we're going through the hole. And of course, we popped right back out of the hole to find out who it was. And there's nobody there. We searched the whole place. We never heard anybody move. We never heard anybody run off. Nothing. Nobody was there. There were no footprints around. Nothing. We don't know what it said. Could have been another language, but it was a male voice that spoke up, said something to us, and then disappeared. And going with our experiences, maybe it was the Watcher, but I didn't hear what exactly it said. It didn't sound like the voice of the Watcher, but maybe it was something like it. I know it was not a spirit of somebody that was a human, but I didn't get the energy that the entities put off. I didn't catch that. So I really had no conclusion to come to on what it was that talked to us. But we knew with these strange footprints, we couldn't figure out. The red lights going through, we couldn't figure out. And this voice we couldn't figure out. We knew we were not getting answers that night.